Live from 17 News, your local election headquarters, the California recall election.
Good evening. Good to have you with us here at 5 o'clock on this Tuesday evening on Recall Election Day. I'm Tammy Melchuk.
And I'm Jim Scott. Thank you for stopping in tonight. Well, today is the day as California voters head to the polls to determine if Governor Gavin Newsom will be removed from office.
What started off as a small movement of disgruntled recall activists in the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic quickly gained traction, with organizers eventually collecting the roughly 2 million signatures needed to put him on the recall election ballot. As our state faces a host of challenges, rising costs of living, rampant homelessness, unrelenting wildfires, and a devastating drought, the ultimate test of Governor Newsom's handling of these crises is unfolding as we speak. There are 46 challengers on the ballot, with firebrand conservative radio talk show host Larry Elder leading in polls among those who want Newsom's job.
Over the summer, polls showed a neck-and-neck contest among likely voters, but Newsom appears to have regained strength in recent weeks as complacent Democrats, who outnumber Republicans roughly 2-to-1 in California, began to wake up to the reality of what's at stake.
Polls opened across the county at 7 o'clock this morning. We have a team in the field covering this election across the county.
And first, we want to go to Chris Burton. He is standing by at Kern County Elections headquarters in downtown Bakersfield with the latest on voter turnout today. Chris, good evening.
Good evening, Jim. Thank you. Yes, and I am here at the election office where we've been seeing lots of voters come out during the day. As you can see behind me, we're seeing a lot of drive-through ballot drop-offs. We should be seeing a lot of voting in person as the night continues. Now, it's important to note that if you haven't voted in this election, you still can, and there are a few ways to do that. Number one, you can come out to any polling location and vote in person. We have a full list of polling sites on our website, kget.com. Now, if you do that, you're going to have to bring that mail-in ballot you received sometime in August and surrender that so you don't have to vote provisionally. Now, you can also vote that mail-in ballot in the mail or drop it off at any polling location. If you're not registered, you can amend that as well. Come to any polling location and ask about same-day voter registration. You don't need to bring anything special for that, just yourself. Now we're looking at results here, and we probably shouldn't get any results for a few hours. Kern County will send out its early mail-in vote tallies, which have been tabulated throughout the week. They will release those at somewhere in the 9 o'clock hour, so we should have results for you then. But we'll also get rolling results of in-person tallies throughout the night. At the elections office, Chris Burton, 17 News.
All right, and that takes us to tonight's 17 interactive feedback poll, and our question for you tonight: do you prefer to vote by mail or vote in person? Give us a call or send us a text at 888-4617. Press 1 if you prefer to vote by mail, and 2 if in person. You can also text, tweet, email, or Facebook your comments to us. Again, the interactive feedback phone line is 888-4617. We will air some of your comments and have a first look at the numbers from tonight's survey coming up at 5:30. Tammy?
Out at the Pro Recall Watch Party in Southwest Bakersfield this evening is 17's Robert Price. And Bob, it doesn't look like much of a party at the moment. What is happening out there?
Tammy, I pretty much have the thing all to myself right now. I am, as you said, at Rusty's Pizza at Ming and Ash. We've got a little bit of 5 o'clock family activity coming in for after-work pizza, but otherwise it's pretty slow. But at 7:45, right before the polls close, it should liven up quite a bit. We'll have some pro-yes people, some pro-recall people, primarily Republicans coming on out here for a little goodbye Gavin Newsom pizza. Kathy Abernathy, who is of the Western Pacific Research, a Bakersfield political consulting firm, has said she's endorsing Larry Elder, the top polling replacement candidate among the 46 on page 2 of the recall ballot. He's one of the Democrats. He's the one the Democrats would most like to associate with Donald Trump. But Elder, who's a talk show host, has said he is his own man. The Republican on the ballot with the most significant experience in elective office is former San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer, but he's seen as something of a moderate. That would probably play well in a regular election, but in a recall, which accentuates and favors the extremes, he might have a tougher time. Assemblyman Kevin Kiley is among the top 3 polling Republicans to replace Governor Gavin Newsom. And then we have Caitlyn Jenner, who, after polling well early on, has settled in a little further down the line in the polls. Among the handful of Democrats who are polling relatively well is YouTube financial advisor Kevin Pathrath. Now, the party starts at 7:45 this evening. Republicans gathering here at Rusty's for, as I called it, a little Gavin Newsom farewell pizza. And his replacement, they'll take anybody with an R next to his name on the ballot. At Rusty's Pizza in Southwest Bakersfield, Robert Price, back to you.
All right, Bob, thank you. Democratic voters aligned with Governor Gavin Newsom are gathering tonight at the Central Labor Council headquarters in Bakersfield to watch the numbers come in. And that's where our Christian Galeno will be staked out all night long. Let's go live to him now for more on the watch party that is unfolding there tonight. Christian, good evening.
Hey Jim, a very good evening, and exactly as you can see, well, it doesn't really look like a watch party out here because all of our local Democrats are volunteering out in the community right now to get one last effort and one last push to get voters out into the polling places. Now joining me now is Chairman of the Kern County Democratic Party, Christian Romo. Christian, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Tell us a little bit about that last minute effort to get those voters out tonight.
Yeah, for anyone that's still out there that has their ballot in hand, we're really pushing hard. We're going to go to the doors, knock on their doors, and convince them that this election is important. It's off season. We know that people may not be aware that there's even an election today, but it's very, very important, and it's really all eyes are on California tonight.
Definitely. Now, all eyes are on California, like you just said. It's very important, a very important election as well. What does the state have to lose if Newsom gets recalled?
We're talking about equal rights, reproductive rights, civil rights. All eyes are on California because California leads the way in the nation. Everything that happens in California has waves across the country. So all eyes are on California tonight, and we're confident that the Democrats will win tonight. Governor Newsom will be, the winner, and we're hopeful that we're going to have a huge landslide of voters.
And then just to wrap it up, what's going on here tonight? Where are volunteers coming? Is there a watch party going on?
Yeah. I know you mentioned, it looks kind of dull behind me. That's okay. That's because we're out working. The reason we win elections and the reason that Democrats continue to, have huge presence here in Kern County is because we're out walking. We're talking to voters. We're out there informing them that there's an election today. We're working hard, and that pays off all the time.
All righty. Well, that's the latest right now from Democratic Central here at the Central Labor Union Center. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Christian, thank you very much. And of course, we'll be checking in with Christian Galeno at the Central Labor Council headquarters in Central Bakersfield throughout the evening as we continue with our coverage here on 17 News. Tammy?
It has been 18 years since the last recall election in California, but this election could have a different outcome compared to the one in 2003. We spoke with a local expert about how this recall election compares to the last and what we can expect and look forward to in next year's general election.
Well, we've had 55 recall elections in the state of California, but for the governor, attempts to recall, but we've only had one actually be recalled, and that was Gray Davis in 2003, which in some ways was a different election than what we're seeing today. The demographic of voters was a bit different. The issues that Gray Davis was being held accountable for and tested for are different than Gavin Newsom. In some ways, but with the slate of 46 candidates, I mean, it's not like when, Gray Davis was recalled, we had 135 candidates on that ballot. And it was Arnold Schwarzenegger rose with that because of the name branding and recognition. But for this, yes, someone like Larry Elder gets to put his name out there. But if that means that that's who the Republicans are going to go ahead and endorse in the next gubernatorial election, that remains to be seen.
Dr. Janine Craybill, Associate Professor of Political Science at Cal State Bakersfield, joined us this morning on 17 News at Sunrise to discuss today's election. In addition to providing a historical perspective, Dr. Craybill went on to say that this current race has been a testing ground for the California GOP's future, projecting that some candidates like John Cox will likely not be big contenders in the future due to low poll numbers. For the complete interview, you can head to our website, kget.com.
And if you haven't done so yet, you still have a couple of hours left to vote in person. Polls close tonight at 8 p.m. There are hundreds of polling places throughout Kern County, from local schools to churches to the Kern County Elections Office in downtown Bakersfield, where Chris Burton just reported from. To find the most convenient polling location for you, we have put together a list, and that is also available on our website at kget.com.